Hey everyone, it's Jessica, the Vegan Vixen. A little impromptu location today, but I had some requests to do a video on matcha, and so that's what I'm doing today. First and foremost, matcha is a green tea. It has almost the equivalent to a cup of coffee per serving. However, the way I like to make mine is almost 2 servings, liquid-wise, for the amount of matcha that would go into 1 serving. So essentially, I'm getting half of the caffeine, but I do drink both over a longer period of time. But the difference between coffee and matcha is that matcha actually releases slowly into the bloodstream, which is also why it's even better for diabetics because it does go slowly into the bloodstream, whereas coffee hits you all at once, and that's why you get the jitters from coffee that you do not get from matcha. So what makes this green tea more special than other green tea is that you're actually drinking the leaf. I'm watching the time here because I'm about to show you how I make matcha, but I have tea steeping too because I'm making a blend. But essentially, the leaves are ground down and you get this fine powder, which I'll show you in just a moment. And that fine powder is what you're consuming. So you're consuming the whole leaf. You're getting lots of minerals, vitamins. You're getting a slew full of health benefits just by drinking this matcha tea. Not to mention that you're still getting caffeine, but it's releasing slower, so it's a more stabilized form of caffeine, and you don't have those after jitters. Another way to use matcha, if tea is not your jam and you're like, hey, I don't necessarily want tea, you can throw it in your smoothies. You can bake with it. You can make ice cream out of it. If you're really crazy and you want to get real intense, you can put it in your yogurt. Just throw your yogurt in a blender, throw your matcha in, and make a matcha yogurt. I mean, you can do all kinds of things. I make matcha muffins and cupcakes with a green tea jasmine icing, whatever. It gets crazy. But you can get matcha in so many other forms if the tea isn't your thing. Mainly because I find that matcha is a very vegetal tea, so if you're not like a super major tea drinker, matcha might be too intense for your taste. It might not appeal to you the way that other teas do. What I find, especially at Teavana, and it's nothing against Teavana, is that they are really trying to appeal to a mass audience as opposed to like a true tea drinker as they used to. That to me is disappointing because I am a true tea drinker and all the crap that they've been bringing out lately is like, so like when they keep things, I'm like, oh, thank God, because it is so good. So I've pulled up a bunch of different websites here that talk about matcha, what the health benefits are, what the benefits in general are. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about matcha and the process in which it is to make it. So and how I make it. I do mine slightly different only because I don't know. I found this way to be equally as effective. So, okay, this is quintessential to my existence. Most people who have matcha do not have one of these. These are very, very hard to find. This is called a matcha sifter, and for the most part, it's very expensive unless you get it out of the country. And this was actually found for me at a tea expo. So this is beyond the most amazing thing. So I have a variety today. What I did was I steeped a vanilla orchid oolong from my favorite tea company ever, David's Tea. This is the jam right here. And I mixed it with Teavana's new oolong, Four Seasons oolong. Oy vey, it is seriously wonderful. So they are combined together, and I have a choice of ginger matcha, regular matcha, and roasted rice matcha. And since I haven't had the ginger matcha in a while, that's what I'm going for. So I'll show you the brand that I've been using lately. Typically I do not advocate for this brand, but I do enjoy the fact that they have flavored matcha, which does add, like, you know, a little fun to the party, if you will. So, and it's probably the easiest out of all brands for me to obtain. So maybe that's another reason. So I take my scoop, 1 teaspoon. I make this a level teaspoon. This is actually a tea scoop. It's a perfect teaspoon scoop. So this is the scoop I use. And this, you can see that it has a mesh strainer here. So what I do is I sift it, and basically what you want to do is you sift the clumps out of the matcha. Okay. So we've sifted them out, and then typically what you would do traditionally is use a whisk, a matcha whisk, and a matcha bowl. But what I find is effective in my own home, yes, we're on the floor here, this is a Hamilton Beach single blender, or a to-go blender, I think is what they called it. I've had this for years and I never used it because, by the way, it never blended. And I don't do milk in my matcha unless I make a latte, which I don't make as often as I used to because I just enjoy my matcha straight. I don't use sweetener either. What I like to do first, though, is put a little bit of hot water down here. Just enough to mix the matcha in before I add the tea. Okay, looks good. And then I already have my pre-steeped tea right here to add. I like a solid 12 to 14 ounces of tea. And with this, if you get this or have this, one quick to get the first initial gush out of the way, and then it mixes very, very well. And I like to mix it until I don't see any matcha left on the side here. So we're almost good. So I don't do quite 16 ounces, and that's only because if I like it iced, I don't want to dilute it too much. This way, I have the perfect cup of matcha, and as you can see, it's still nice and foamy. Let me see if I can do this. I'm not. Okay, you can see that it's nice and foamy as it would be if you whisked it. I just make the process a little bit quicker, and we have the perfect amount of tea here. Okay, so yeah, that's great. So I know that some of you were interested in my tea combinations. I don't always mix other teas in my matcha. Sometimes I just enjoy it plain. That's good. Sometimes I just enjoy it plain, but when I do mix and make combinations, I really enjoy a vanilla with matcha. I think it's really nice. Kuki cha, one of my other favorite teas that can also be considered a green or an herbal, depending on who you speak to. My favorite brand is Bella. Their roasted kuki cha is by far the most superior of all that I have tried, and believe me, I've tried so many, and this is just like out of this world. This is seriously amazing. It's almost chocolatey, so when I do mix it with the vanilla orchid oolong, holy moly, it's like chocolate milk, but tea. It's like amazing. I also really enjoy mixing this with chai tea. I really enjoy Tivana's white chai, David's tea, cocoa rooibos chai. Also, sometimes I'll do Tivana white chai mixed with, what is it? Mixed with Spice of Life. And there's a tea from David's called Honeybee Mate, My husband loves that tea, and I'll sometimes put it in his matcha when I make it for him when he wants it, and he likes that a lot. So, I mean, there are so many varieties. I think it comes down to your personal flavor profile, but that's easy peasy ways. What you do is you just steep the tea regularly as you would before you add it to your matcha, and then you just pour your tea in it instead of just pouring straight water. If you're doing this latte form, I find that a lot of people use a lot more milk than they use water, so it's just a preference. But for me, ever since I found out that you don't have to have milk in it, I just don't use any non-dairy creamer at all. I just go straight, and I love it that way. So the brand lately that I've been loving is Matcha from Republic of Tea. And again, I typically do not advocate Republic of Tea anything, but, sorry, this is a new one I just opened. I just got it at the grocery store over the weekend. These retail about $17, and how many ounces is this? I think it's like 1 ounce, 1.5 ounce. So this is comparable to everywhere else. I believe Belloc for like 2 ounces is $28. David's tea is about $25 for like 1.7 ounces or something along the lines of that. So matcha is not a cheap tea. It's not supposed to be a cheap tea, and it's not supposed to be like chugged. I don't know. I watch some people chug their tea, and I'm like, you're not even taking the time to enjoy its benefits and its beauty and its bountiful flavor. So what I have here, and these are the only ones I've tried, the yuzu one that they have, it's a yuzu citrus, I believe. It's just not something I would even remotely be interested in. So I've got roasted rice, just plain. That was because I couldn't get to Teavana. This is actually an old Teavana matcha container that I just reuse for other tea. And matcha ginger, which is what I'm drinking now. Oh, it's so good. It's just so good. Okay, so I want to tell you just a few things that I've learned about matcha and coffee in general. So something that I found interesting is that coffee spikes your adrenaline. And that's why people typically like coffee, because of the way that it makes you feel. But that's actually what causes the crash and makes you shaky afterwards. Matcha, however, does not do that. And again, I said, with matcha, it releases slowly into the bloodstream almost as a natural source, so that your body feels like it's properly energized without being like, "Ugh." Nobody wants to feel like that. I can't do that. Apparently, also, matcha is a big weight loss help. I don't drink it for that, by any means. I absolutely adore the flavor of the grassiness. Like I said, I'm a natural tea buff, and straight tea is the way to be, in my opinion. Silver Needle is my, by far, absolute favorite tea in the entire universe. Sometimes I'll just do when I'm really sick. Silver Needle, matcha, that's it. Happy as can be. Happy as a clam, if you will. But I have read that it helps people increase fat burning up to 17% by drinking matcha. So if you're looking to lose weight, maybe adding, if you don't like the taste of it as a tea, maybe add it to your smoothies if you're a smoothie drinker. I don't know, something worth your thoughts and time. I am not going to advocate weight loss for this because I have not seen myself lose weight due to drinking tea. I don't think I weigh enough to really see that. Let's see here. I just want to, and also apparently matcha is a very powerful antioxidant, and I'll talk just a little bit more about that in a few minutes. It's so powerful that it's more powerful than blueberries. Like, it's a wonderful, wonderful anti-aging beverage to drink, and I personally enjoy 1 to 2 a day, every day. Love it. Can't get enough of it. Literally can't get enough of it. If I could have like 8 cups of it a day, I would. And it's supposed to help clear skin. People talk about my skin all the time. Some people could say it's because I'm vegan. Other people who knew me before I was vegan, I still have very clear skin. And maybe the matcha is something that does help me keep my skin clear because I drink this consistently every day, like without fail. This is always allotted in my grocery budget every 2 weeks. Matcha, like I have to have it. And they say that Zen Buddhists have used matcha to increase focus and concentration. And ideally, I believe it's 3 to 6 hours post drinking your matcha is when you have your deepest concentration. And I actually would certainly agree with that because when I'm working, I drink my matcha in the morning, I film my videos, and then I work in the afternoon. And when I'm doing my work, I am beyond focused. Like I have more energy when I'm doing my videos from my matcha. But once I'm on my video, or once I'm on to the writing and the blog work that I do, and the edits and whatever else that I do for work, I'm very focused. I'm very driven. I'm into whatever it is that I'm doing at that time. So that is something that I can definitely attest to. I meditate, but I don't meditate any certain time after I drink my matcha tea. Maybe it's something I should consider because I do meditate daily. Interesting thought. Let's see here. So apparently the matcha goes through your body in a 6 to 8 hour stream. So from start to finish, it's a 6 to 8 hour release of caffeine, and that is why you have more sustainability in your body. And it's not just released and it's out of your body in 2 seconds, the way that coffee is. So I want to find the article here that talked about. Okay, so matcha has incredibly high antioxidants. According to bodybuilding.com, I'm pulling this from a website, so I'm not sure, I don't want to lead you on, but according to this website, it says that it has 60 times that of spinach, 17 times the antioxidants of blueberries, 7 times that of dark chocolate, and 6.2 times that of goji berries. As I've said, due to the fact that it is an antioxidant, it helps in anti-aging, wrinkles, things of that nature. And that's only to people with regular consumption. You can't have it once a week and be like, yeah, I'm getting my benefits on. You're not getting your benefits on. It's like anything you do, working out, eating healthy, you have to do it consistently in order to actually reap the rewards of whatever it is that you're trying to reap the rewards of. So I find that funny. It's also known to combat inflammation, and I wonder if that's why I like drinking it so much, because having cystic fibrosis, you naturally have this insanely high adrenaline rush because your body's constantly fighting pain. And maybe that's also why I can't tolerate caffeine or coffee, because my body just, it goes nuts. It goes berserk. It's awful. It's just horrible. Not to mention I don't really like the taste of coffee, but it does not make me feel good. I feel awful. But when I drink this, I feel good when I drink this, and I do wonder if this does play some small role in the inflammation with me, especially internally. It's something to consider. They also say that there was a study done in 2011 that matcha shows lower LDL, which is bad cholesterol in the body, regular matcha consumption. Again, they talk about weight loss aid in here, consistently drinking it, and they said that drinking matcha after exercise increased the fat burning up to 25% versus drinking it prior or regularly the 17%. So that might be something. And it's funny that they say that too, because in the summers I tend to enjoy this a little cooler. After I exercise, I have 2 cups of water and then I have a matcha, and I don't know, maybe that is something to think about, because in the winter when I exercise in the mornings, I have a totally different workout schedule. In the winter, I exercise in the mornings, and I have my hot matcha post-workout. And in the summer, I have afternoon workouts, and I have a cold matcha. So that's very interesting. And I thoroughly love that on this website they say, "Can I get an amen?" So that's great. Naturally, it is a detoxifier. Apparently, it is supposed to remove the body of toxins, heavy metals, poisons, dioxins, and hormone disruptors. And that is pretty much because of the rich green color of the tea, and it's higher in chlorophyll than any of the other types of tea out there. And chlorophyll, as you know, is an alkalizer for the body, and that is absolutely fantastic. It's why I start every single day with hot water, and I like to throw a dash of cayenne in for warmth, hot water and lemon, and that's a natural alkalizer for the body. And I also like to throw in apple cider vinegar, and I try to get the body prepped and ready for the day. Yes, I'm crazy, but that's just how I roll. Mind Improver, as I've said, it's supposed to help increase concentration, and apparently this is higher in fiber, so this is why it helps to stabilize blood sugar levels. So me, who's hypoglycemic, can drop down to 28. Like, there have been times that I've been in the hospital where I've been put on bed rest because of how low my blood sugar drops and how weak I get and how quickly I am to pass out when it's that low. I've been at home and been very sick and high feverish, and my blood sugar will crash out of nowhere, and it will wake me up in the middle of the night where I am shaking and convulsing, where I have to get food in me. So drinking this regularly helps to keep that stabilized. And for you diabetics, obviously adding tons of sugar to this would not be the answer, but drinking this as just a staple could actually help control the diabetes. And it does have a decent amount of fiber in it. So for those of you that are constipated, this can actually help relieve constipation. I have chronic dios, and that also, it's constipation and intestinal obstructions. I'm getting real personal with all of you. But that's why I go through so many treatments on a weekly basis and so many medicines on a daily basis just to maintain and keep my intestines in check. But I cannot attest to this easing constipation. I just can't. But I'm a case that is far beyond the means of that of just cystic fibrosis in terms of my intestines. So I should not be a qualifier for that question. And again, they said this is a natural pick-me-up, and I totally can attest to this. I mean, honestly, it's like the first sip, it's like, oh, it's probably how coffee drinkers feel. I don't know, but I just felt it. This is like seriously my jam, though. Okay, so nutrient-wise, what it has in it per serving, which is this one scoop right here. I think it's 3 grams, which is 1 teaspoon. I think that's how it works. Don't quote me on that. But 1 teaspoon is your serving. And apparently, I don't know how to pronounce this word, so I don't really... Or maybe it's 1 gram of matcha. I don't know. I'm not hip with the... I just know teaspoon. Okay, teaspoon. 1 teaspoon. Sorry, that's all I got for you. 1 teaspoon. So there's about 318 milligrams of fiber. There are about 447 milligrams of carbs. I don't care about carbs. I actually eat carbs like it's my job to maintain my weight. I know most of you out there are like, hey girl, I want to take a gun to you. But no, seriously, that's what I do. Like, I have to eat like breads and stuff just to keep my weight above a certain number. 3 calories per serving. Matcha is like super low in... You know what? I'm just going to read it off of this. This makes more sense. Okay, so 12 calories. So essentially, 1 teaspoon is 3 grams. So I was accurate. 12 calories per serving. Whew. We're getting crazy with 12 calories, guys. 0.2 grams of fat. No cholesterol. 0.1 milligrams of sodium, 93 milligrams of potassium, 1.6 grams of carbs, little over a gram of fiber, which I don't think that's substantial, but apparently that's 4%. If you have 2 of these a day, that's 8% of your day. And 1 gram of protein per serving. So, you know, they recommend 1 teaspoon in 8 ounces. I do 1 teaspoon in about 12 to 14 ounces. I think in 8 ounces, 1 teaspoon of this is pretty intense. I don't think I could roll like that. But for me, I like weaker teas. Like, I like white tea, and I steep it at the bare minimum. And all of my other teas, if it's like 3 to 5 minutes, it's only 3 minutes. Like, I like my teas weak. I like them gentle. I like them mild. I don't like them, like, if it's overkill and overpowered, I can't even, like, get past it. Like, I just can't. Also high in amino acids. What? And they recommend to use the traditional bamboo whisk, frother, or to shake it in a bottle. So if you don't have the money for a personal little blender like I have here, or you don't have one of those little handheld milk frothers, or I actually had a Bodum one that broke, so that's not really high on your list to buy, but it was a milk frother. That was an electronic one, not very efficiently made, which was the first Bodum product I was ever disappointed in. Or bamboo whisk. If you don't have any of those things, I've seen many people just put it into a water bottle or some sort of bottle and just shake it. I don't know how effective that is, because I feel like you're going to end up with a lot of your powder at the very bottom of your drink. Maybe you'll be stirring it a lot more. I don't know, but if you don't have the money for that, because these items can get pricey, I feel like this personal blender here was like really cheap. It was a gift for my mother like years ago for the holidays, and I believe it was only like 15 or 20 bucks. It was really cheap, and I'll tell you what, I use it every day. I for my matcha every single day. I love it. I used to use my milk frother, and then I was like, oh my god, what am I going to use? I could go buy a bamboo whisk, but that just seems like there's so much extra work involved. I know, right? I'm all about the traditional experience, and I'm like, oh man, frothing it, I don't know about all that. I am still debating it, but I do get such a perfect foamy cup of delectability out of this. So, you know, for me, I just don't see the need. I also want to read a little snippet here, basically talking about why is matcha tea such a high grade tea in comparison to other teas, especially within the green tea variety. And it's a higher quality green tea, obviously, but it's covered before they pick, so that accentuates the color of the tea before they stone grind it, and then it's sealed in small tins. Like I said, it's very simple, you know, it's traditional in Japan, to enjoy it just as I am right now, just drinking it straight. But other people find it that it is vegetal. They say almost spinachy. I don't get the spinachy. No. It's unique. It's not spinachy. It is certainly vegetal. It's not really grassy. I don't know exactly what I would call it. I like the, I guess grassy would probably be the closest thing that I would put this with the list that they're giving of what people would say this tastes like, but you really can use it in a ton of different ways. I do not boil my water. That is so crucial. Okay, I'm so glad that I'm talking to you about this. I am the anal, like, temperature freak, like, to the extent that I have an electric kettle. It does not have a temperature gauge on it. I have an ear, okay? Like, this ear can tell you exactly when to stop it for whatever tea you're making. Like, this makes the noise, and, like, I know exactly how far the sound is and how high the sound is for whatever tea you're drinking. So, like, I know. And it's so funny because my husband, when he wants to make, like, you know, something where he'll have to, like, something of that nature, and I want tea, he'll be like, Jessica, Just tell me when to stop it so I can pour it out for your tea, and then I'll make it hotter for me. And I mean, well, I mean, obviously it took trial and error, but I know now exactly when to stop it for whatever type of tea. And I tend to like my teas not scalding. It ruins the tea to me. Even the rooibos tea, which can be steeped at a super, super hot temperature, I don't like it super hot. I like it hot, warm. Warm, hot, but not hot, hot. So that's typically how I tend to drink it. And I'm just trying to see. I mean, I feel like I've given you all the health benefits. I feel like I've told you a lot about exactly what this tea is good for. There's other studies done that show that people who drink this tea on a regular basis have lower cancer rates. I don't exactly know how they can predict that because, I mean, like, what do? You study people that drink it versus don't, and then, like, whoever gets cancer first? Like, I don't know, but they say that by drinking this tea, I know that they say green tea in general, but this tea specifically has a higher auric value, which is the antioxidants, and I think that's essential when it comes to gauging cancer levels and even preventing and treating. So while you're going through treatment of cancer, matcha tea might be something worth your time to drink during treatment. I've known it to lower my nausea. I know I haven't seen anything saying lowering the nausea, but for me personally, who lives consistently nauseous, I can certainly attest to feeling slightly less nauseous when I have this tea. And maybe that's why I like it so much, on top of its taste and how it makes me feel. And just like, I just love everything about this tea. I could like sing hymns about this tea. Like, I really could. I feel like more people need education on matcha to understand why it's so good for you. If you're drinking tea for beneficial reasons, if you're not drinking tea for beneficial reasons and you're just buying like the bottles, like, I'm sorry, teas that have been pre-brewed and bottled, you're not. Yeah, it's basically like juices that are like pasteurized. Don't. What's the point? What's the point? You're not getting any benefit out of them. So that's just essentially how I feel about all of that. So yeah, and everybody always talks about how it increases your metabolism. Again, I can't say one way or the other because I don't know. I have not seen like a major weight loss in me drinking my matcha tea, so I cannot say one way or another. I've always been on the slender side, so we'll just leave that at that. So, yes. I know what's up in the matcha department. Oh, show. Yeah. So, I know my husband's mother, she actually puts it in her smoothies every day. She doesn't drink it, but she has it in her smoothies every day. So, I mean, it really does come down to flavor. And can you take the flavor? Do you enjoy it? I have a friend who, she's not a huge tea drinker. She'll enjoy it from time to time, you know, mainly with me. And if I make it for her, we go to Tivana. I think maybe she drank matcha. I don't know. I'm thinking I'm lying about that one. I don't think she's ever really been into it. Maybe if I've made it for her and I've made it extra creamy. I feel that most people who don't particularly love the taste, they really enjoy it extra creamy, and they tend to like it with honey. Oh, that's the other thing. If you do sweeten your matcha, I have found that effectively the only sweetener I've ever seen anybody use is honey. I'm vegan, obviously, so I'm not using honey. But I wouldn't use agave either. I have my own qualms with agave. Yes, I have it in the house, but do I use it? Very, very, very rarely and very sparingly. I would never put sugar in my tea. That would just... Ugh. So yeah, for me, I mean, I could use maple syrup or brown rice syrup, but I don't know. I just, sweetener just does not, it doesn't appeal to me. But for the most part, people use honey to sweeten their matcha tea. I imagine the people in Japan do not sweeten their teas. I'm just thinking they probably don't. They just drink it. But again, we as Americans like everything sweeter than it needs to be. That's my opinion. And that's why I make everything for myself at home from scratch, because I feel that most things are too sweet anyway. So, yeah, it says the girl who posted a cupcake from Sticky Fingers. I do enjoy the occasional cupcake, don't judge. I love a good cupcake if it's made right and the icing is right. If it's too much icing, I just can't roll with it. So yes, matcha tea. I've given you some combinations. Again, I'll repeat them just so you have them. I really enjoy vanilla base. So, any kind of vanilla tea that you personally like. I'm not dictating what vanilla you need. My favorite vanilla for this is David's Tea Vanilla Orchid Oolong. It's by far substantial, the most amazing vanilla tea. Followed by Republic of Tea. That's the only other really Republic of tea that I drink. The red, what is it called? Good Hope Vanilla. This one, I really enjoy this tea. I've never actually mixed it in with my matcha, but this is the best vanilla outside of the Vanilla Orchid Oolong. Really, any kind of oolong I find is very appealing mixed with matcha. Silver Needle is fabulous if you like straight silver needle. I could imagine that jasmine is good with this. I have a jasmine oolong, not a green, but an oolong I have. I've never actually mixed it with this, but I can imagine that it would be good. Chais are great. I have only two that I personally drink, and it's the white Ayurvedic chai from Tivana, or the cocoa rooibos chai from David's Tea. Sorry, I'm looking at my labels here to make sure I can say the names right. My husband likes the honey mate from David's, and I don't like black tea, so I can't attest to anything there. I don't really drink green tea outside of matcha, so I can't attest to anything there. But as far as white and oolong go, yes. Kuki cha, again, can be considered herbal or green. I absolutely love it mixed with matcha. And I think anything really kind of sweeter that may take a slight bitterness off of this, which is what I think a lot of people tend to taste, is that it seems to taste vegetal and bittery and vegetal and bitter, and I think that may be what turns people off. So something that may have a sweeter taste to it, I think that's where you're going to excel, especially if you're new to matcha and drinking it straight is not necessarily your particular favorite jam. So also I want to tell you, this is a side note to matcha, is that if you steep your tea, I have about a gazillion steepers of all sorts. I tend to like these metal mesh steepers best. But if you steep your tea, like this is my oolong from earlier, you can leave your teas, your loose teas, cover it. But you can leave your loose teas out for up to 24 hours, and you can re-steep. The more you re-steep, the more you take the caffeine out. If you have a caffeinated tea that you like and you can't really tolerate caffeine, or it's later in the day and you want to take out most of the caffeine, steep it once for 1 minute, dump the first cup of tea, or save it or give it to someone else who loves caffeine, and then re-steep. You have taken out almost all of the caffeine, and now you have decaf tea. Also, what I find, especially in teas, especially in jasmine-based teas, most teas can give you up to 3 steeps. Some can even go as far as 8 steeps. And certain teas will tell you, you can steep it for many, many, many steeps, and you can gauge it even to your own taste. Like, I know certain teas say up to 3, but I can get like 5 out of them. So you can steep it as long as you cover it for up to 24 hours, and they get sweeter as you steep them. And I say that especially in the case of jasmine. The third cup of jasmine tends to be the sweetest cup that you'll get. And I find that the third cup of most teas is the sweetest cup of tea that you're going to get. So I like to share that information with you because you probably aren't aware This is probably going to be my longest video, and I apologize. This was not my intention, but I could talk forever about matcha. And this is probably not what you guys were looking for, but I'm just giving you an education on tea and matcha today. So where's my passion at? Hello, health. Hello, tea. My juicing video, it's probably going to end up being as long as this one, too. Again, not intentional, just that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess. But so, do not dump your loose tea after one use. That's just wasting money. I'm not like frugal Franny, but I can certainly tell you that teas, good quality teas, and that's what I tend to drink, are very expensive. And the teas that I tend to drink are very, very expensive teas. I reuse my teas. I have like 5 cups of 5 cups that have steepers in them, and my husband's like, which one can I wash and which ones can't I touch? And I'm like, don't touch any of them. I'll tell you it. Like, it's crazy. But certainly for steeping purposes, you have up to 24 hours as long as it's covered. And I say get the most of your use, or use this as much as you can in that 24-hour period, so you can maximize your budget, your dollar. You'll get more tea out of it. If you have a friend, 2 cups you can make easily out of one thing, and then you can just share. Or you can make a pot. Like, just think differently. Go about this differently. You can definitely afford more expensive, high-quality teas that are loose leaf if you steep them more. But again, you have to be a regular tea drinker, and you have to want to drink the tea often, in my opinion. So if you're not going to drink it often and you're not a regular tea drinker, then maybe my tips here are not viable to you. But those are just some things I wanted to share. Again, so you can use a simple bottle, if you're new to matcha and you just want to give it a whirl. Use it as a shaker. You can purchase the whisk, bamboo whisk. I think they're usually like $12 or so, $12-15 at the store, maybe $10. And then the bowl tends to be more expensive. It's a nice ceramic handmade bowl, and usually those go for about $25-30. They're not very cheap. You can buy a Aero frother, any one of those milk frothers, handheld ones, nice ones, whatever. Or you could buy this, I can't get the camera. You can buy one of these, the Hamilton Beach. They come in a bunch of colors. My mom got mine at Target for me eons ago, and I think it really was like $15, but this was a long, long time ago when it first came out. I think it was like 2009, so that's telling you how long I've had that thing for. This piece here is like quintessential to me. It's going to be really rare and hard to find, and if you do, it's not going to be very cheap, but it's a matcha sifter. And if you know of a place to get it for cheap, if you're a fellow tea drinker, care to share. I have friends who are dying for these. I actually ordered one from a friend from Japan for a great price, including shipping. Way more reasonable than it costs in America. So, and I know mine certainly came from overseas as well, and I find mine to be very high quality. But, if you know of any places locally that's, within the U.S. that is price point friendly, please leave comments below. I'm always curious, and I'd love to share with other friends that are interested in getting this. And this really is for people that are like super intense into the matcha. I wouldn't recommend this to a starter, only because this can get expensive, especially along with all the other things that you have to buy to get yourself a good cup of matcha. But this really does help immensely to just make your powder finer and less greeny, which ultimately results in less sediment at the bottom of your mug. You don't really want to have all the matcha powder sitting down here when you're at the bottom of your tea. It's almost as if you've like not gotten it in your body for some reason. I don't know. Like, I'll still drink it. I'll be like, slurp it up. But matcha without this, to me, ever since I got this last year, it's just not the same. It's just not. Thankfully, my local tea house has this when they make me my matcha, so I'm grateful. Okay, so I have talked to you guys for almost an hour now. Holy moly, I'm so sorry that this is so long. I hope that I haven't like put you bored to tears. And I will try to make the juicing video shorter, but it is going to have a bunch of juices along with like a list of the items you'll need and the benefits that that said juice will give you. So it's going to be a really detailed video, and that's why it's going to take me a little bit longer, because I want to really give you the best and most in-depth information. I will put the information below for my blender, for the matcha teas, different brands that I like, different tea companies that I like, just so you have the information. And yeah, so that's where I'm gonna leave it. Wow, it's been forever. Sorry. Please take the time, hit subscribe up above. I have plenty of videos coming your way, whether it be on health, food, or fashion. It's coming. And you can follow my blog, TheVeganVixenBlog.blogspot.com. It will be launching officially on my birthday, July 16th. That is the official launch date of my new blog. Very exciting. Ah! And you can follow me on Instagram at TheVeganVixen. You can Vine with me at TheVeganVixen, but that is the space vegan space vixen. You can tumble with me at TheVeganVixenBlog and tweet me at glitterythings_. Thank you all for watching this incredibly long video on the many benefits of matcha, the delectability of the flavor, how to use it, how else you can use it other than just as a tea, and I hope that if you haven't tried it, you will consider giving it a try. And for those of you that are interested in matcha, I hope this has helped educate you a little bit on the benefits and made you want to go out and buy everything and drink it like crazy, because the health benefits are so wonderful for you. Thanks again for watching, and I love all of you. Bye.